Hi, I'm Sandy from Lightning Tools, and I'm here with Brett again. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, very
Looking nice and
refreshed.
relaxed.
Yes. Yeah, I've just had a holiday of a lifetime. So it was,
Awesome.
yeah,
Where'd you
really,
go?
really good. So we went to the South Ari Atoll in the Maldives, which,
Mm,
yeah, was absolutely beautiful.
mm.
If you've never been before, I highly recommend going to the Maldives.
That's in the Indian Ocean,
It's in
correct?
the Indian Ocean. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, absolutely. So
mm,
yeah, a lot of the staff there were either born and bred in the Maldives,
mm,
or they've also come across from places like Sri Lanka and so on
mm,
too.
mm.
But yeah, it's absolutely stunning. It,
Awesome.
couldn't fault it.
Great.
Yeah,
Good.
and so you've been away at the North American Collaboration Summit.
Yes. Yes,
Hmm.
in Branson, which is not as sunny and beautiful, but still nice.
It's still a beautiful place.
It is,
Absolutely, yeah.
yes. Yeah, that was for North American Collaboration Summit in Branson, Missouri, and it's held, the venue is right across from Branson Landing, which is all full of shops and restaurants and things like that along the river, and there's a nice fountain and things. So yeah, it is also nice and relaxing, and it
Yeah.
was wonderful to catch up with lots of people in the community again. We had a booth there, and I presented a session on content roll-up, which was pretty well received, I thought. And I enjoyed putting it together, actually, um, because I've been doing Power Apps and Power Automate sessions really for the past several years. So this is the first SharePoint session I had done in a while. And so, yeah, I still love SharePoint. So I
Did it make
really
you feel
enjoyed
all
putting
warm and fuzzy?
kind of like that, yeah. Well, I was warm and fuzzy until I was trying to do things with the highlighted content web part that I couldn't. And then I was feeling frustrated.
Well,
Right.
well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a solution for that somewhere. But anyway,
Probably.
fantastic. Good, good. Well, I mean, talking of solutions,
Right.
so yeah, we're actually well doing a month off a product release, and I think our developers are itching to release their
They
products.
are.
Our customers are probably itching to get those releases as well. But yeah, we decided to sort of back off for a month and we'll just focus on something new. And I think there's a couple of reasons for doing this. I mean, it's not too new, but it's still new to a lot of people. And that's Microsoft Viva, and
Mm,
yeah, there's new stuff being released all the time for Microsoft Viva as well. Um, but I'll be honest, one of the reasons for actually wanting to do this is just jump out the Lightning Tools bubble for a moment and
mm,
and really start to just look around a bit more and look for other opportunities where Lightning Tools might actually be able to be helpful in that area as well. And of course, there is actually lots of opportunities. There's things like adaptive cards and things like that that we could get involved in and actually already have been involved in for Microsoft Viva on the back of some of our existing tools. But I thought, yeah, it'd be great to put a webinar together so we can talk high level about some of those modules that make up Microsoft Viva. It'll be really useful for anybody that is new to Microsoft Viva to get an understanding of what each of those modules are. And I want to put our own bit of a spin on it as well. And let me sort of explain
yeah,
why.
what do you mean?
Yeah, so the reason why I want to put our spin on it is I don't want to just show up to a webinar and say, this is Microsoft Viva Connections and this is Microsoft Viva Insights and it does this and these are the features and so on. I think Microsoft Viva deserves a bit more than that, and that is actually a bit of a backstory as to how an organization might actually use this and what they're going to get
Mm,
out of it as well.
mm,
Not necessarily the organization, but also the employees, which is kind of what Viva is all about.
right.
And I've now had over 15 years of experience running Lightning Tools, and prior to that, I was also a business owner. But I've also worked for some very large organizations such as FedEx and so on in the past too. And the employee experience when you look back as to how that's changed. My first job was in 1995. I know you don't go back as far as that, Sandy, but so back in 1995, things were very different. You turned up and you did your job, and everybody would notice if you were maybe not, doing your job for 5 minutes. Maybe you opened up solitaire or something like that back in the day, or Minesweeper.
Right.
but but yeah, it was a very different experience to what we have today. And of course, I know this isn't a new topic, but throughout the pandemic, there's been a real shift as yeah, a real focus on the mindset of employees, their well-being, and so on. And I think the recognition that the looking after your employees helps you as an organization to grow. And Lightning Tools has also been through some of that journey over 15 years. So of course, prior to the pandemic, um, Viva didn't exist. Viva's really been born through the pandemic for that reason. But I actually started to recognize that shift earlier, through the help of my business coach. And this is part of the backstory that I want to tell on the webinar as well. I'm not going to spend the entire webinar talking about that. We're going to look at the technology, but it's worthwhile mentioning that, when you do form a company, you don't always form the company as an entrepreneur that is forming a company, knows how to manage people and so on. A lot of organizations are formed through the fact that you are a software developer or you're a chef or whatever. You might set up your own restaurant or set up your own bicycle company, whatever it might be. And you're doing that based on a skill you have, not on a good managerial or entrepreneurial skill set. So there's a lot to learn in running a business and managing people. And I reached out to get help with that. I ended up with a business coach and so on, and it's really helped me to recognize some of the important things that I just really thought before. That's just noise. It's you just need to work hard and so on, and that was how I was brought up, I guess, in earlier jobs. But yeah, it's not all about that. It is about making sure that everybody's swimming in the right direction, that the vision of the company is understood by everybody, that everybody's goals are being met, and that they feel like they belong to an organization. They all connect with each other, and that's something that everybody seems to be understanding nowadays. And Viva will help deliver that for your company. So what I won't be doing is just saying, hey, here's a piece of software called Viva Connections, and this is how you install it. And I must admit, the first time I saw Viva Connections, I got the story that Microsoft was telling as to why it might be useful in that scenario. But then, truthfully, I thought, can't you kind of do that anyway, though, with the SharePoint site?
Right.
Do we need Viva Connections? Is this not just a SharePoint home site, or
Mm.
in fact, what's the difference between a home site and a communication site? Or there's three different names for the same thing that's just marginally different.
Right.
And so I want to sort of dispel that myth a little bit and explain what Viva Connections might actually be able to do for you as an organization or even as a department. And I'm not going to have a great deal of time to talk about this stuff. It's just going to be very high level, talking about Viva Connections, what it can do, and then we'll have a little look at it so that you can visualize it. And then we're going to move on to some of the other modules as well. Viva Insights. So, Viva Insights, it's not necessarily all new stuff,
Right.
but it's a lot of things that have come together to actually be very useful. So you might have been adding focus time into your calendar for quite some time now. You may have been receiving emails from Microsoft about how you might want to structure your day and things like that. And of course, there's been multiple things that will help us manage tasks and what have you. But we do all of that with a slightly different, well, I guess a more meaningful and a more conscious way using Microsoft Insights. You're more conscious about how organized you are and how consistent you're being and how you're looking after yourself. And as a manager, you're looking after your team and you're knowing how well they're doing and being able to spot whether they're being burnt out and so on. So yeah, that's something that again isn't necessarily new technology, but the way that it's been put together in a module under Microsoft Viva, and how using that in conjunction with Viva Connections is really powerful. And of course, these all lead on to each other. There's also learning. So Viva Learning, again, it's not new content. We've had LinkedIn Learning and so on. There's been lots of different ways of learning, but actually combining it and putting it under the umbrella of Viva, this makes sense. especially when we combine that with Viva goals. So in order to be progressing as a company and progressing as an employee and progressing your career and not feeling that you're just doing the same job day in, day out, you can actually look after your own personal growth. And there's a lot of learning content available that Microsoft is now putting under your nose and helping you to actually take advantage of that, again, in conjunction with Viva Connections and in conjunction with insights and so on, to make sure that you are actually getting that time to apply it to your own personal growth.
Mm.
And that links directly into goals too,
Right.
because part of the goals is personal growth. There's not really another type of goal. It's either going to be personal growth or it's going to be company growth. So yeah, this is a way of measuring that you're actually achieving the goals that you set out. And yeah, so I think all of these things packaged together really work well. It's just that it doesn't, don't feel that you're going to turn up into this webinar and see brand new technology. Is my
Okay.
feeling, and I apologize to Microsoft if that's wrong to say that, but I just feel that it's not necessarily brand new technology. It's stuff that we had before, but the way that it's been packaged together is going to be really powerful.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put a different spin on it from things that I've seen also, like blog posts and things are more about the technology, I feel like, than the reasons for doing it and what's in it for me, I guess, as an employee.
yeah, absolutely. And there's some things that I think as a small company, you can see that that might be useful in a bigger company,
Mm,
and
mm,
maybe it might not be for us.
mm,
But yeah, there's also a hell of a lot of stuff that is actually
mhm,
really powerful.
mhm,
And yeah, should help everybody in our
mhm,
organization
mhm.
and in larger organizations. And the advantage that we've got is it's easier for a smaller organization to actually roll this stuff out.
Right, right.
Um, you know, uh, Trying to get 10,000 or 100,000 employees sort of change their mindsets a little bit and to
Mhm.
work smarter. I don't know how you do that, but hopefully, yeah, Microsoft Viva will be able to assist in some way.
Mhm,
So,
mm.
so that will
Awesome.
be the webinar
Okay.
this Thursday. I'm really looking
Okay.
forward to delivering it,
Great.
and I hope it'll be useful for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that recap. Yeah, so I'll put a link to register for the webinar in the show notes, and probably could add some links to the different Viva modules, I think, so people can learn more about them ahead of the webinar,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All
And
right. Great.
yeah, you can, of course, hopefully this will whet your appetite a little bit as to how
Mhm.
you might be able to use it. And then, of course, yeah, what I'm not going to do is splurge out stuff that you can find out by yourself. So there is, yeah, as mentioned, the links out to some of the Microsoft documentation will be very
Mhm.
useful.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you want to find out more, of course, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help
Mhm.
point you in the right direction.
Right.
I know Enlightening will be able to also help with that as well through
Mhm.
some
Mhm.
coaching. So
Right.
if you feel that yeah, you do want some coaching on how to roll out Viva, this is something that we can offer.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, there's also a lot of Microsoft material too. So
Okay. Great. Thanks. And yeah, looking forward to that webinar and on Thursday.
sounds good. All right, and we'll be back to another product release next month.
Right. Yep. Yep. We'll talk then.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.
Yeah, take care, Sandy. Bye for
You
now.
too. Bye.